So welcome to the live video for our crystals class in the Netherlands. Do it wrong, do it badly, do it anyway. Happening at the end of July, and we thought it would be so interesting for you to kind of get a sense what this class will be all about. So we put up some really, really cool people here in the video, and we're all going to ask some questions. Yeah, to let you
look at us. We're so good looking.
Woohoo.
Yes. Hello from Como.
Got some really, really cool questions for Crystal.
So who wants to ask me some questions?
Everyone.
Crystal, you will do something badly and do it anyway? Are you crazy?
Yes.
I knew it.
Well, I love this class. I named it. I love it. I was looking for a title for a class that would really address this massive, massive judgment that seems to keep us from actually showing up in our lives. And I was like, what is it that just like, it's like if we look at doing something, whether it's a video or showing up in our lives or getting into a relationship or whatever it is, starting a business. And it's like, we've got this thing where if we can't do it right, we're not going to do it at all. And I get it because I'm a control freak perfectionist. So, you know, you should have seen me trying to find the background for this. See the stunning background. This took me 5 full minutes to organize this. I'm like, I'm not sitting against the cushions because if I sit, then it cuts off the head view. Like, so I'm a control freak of attitude, right? But the thing that's created my business and created my life, created my money flows, created everything in my life getting greater is the willingness to show up and do it anyway. Even if I don't think that I can, even if I don't know how it's going to turn out, even if I think it's going to be shit, and sometimes it is, and continuing to show up through all of the changes in my life instead of waiting to when I got there, which doesn't even exist, to start to show up. And so I wanted to invite people to this place where we could just, all the shit could come up, you know, like it's funny when you put a stage and a piano and a microphone and a facilitator in front of you, what comes up? So I'm excited.
Okay, cool. Crystal, you wanted to ask a question too? Crystal?
Crystal? Which Crystal? The muted one.
Yes. It's because
We're frozen again.
Okay,
cool.
Okay, cool.
So John, do you have a question?
Oh, I have lots of questions.
Tell me, John.
Well, you know, I'm at a place where things are going really cool. Things are really exciting and fun and going great. And I'm making choices that I'm happy with. And I'm also even using that to judge myself and going, am I slacking? You know, is there something else that I ought to be choosing? And is that being in question or is that being in judgment? You know, there's this kind of inner conflict, you know, of like, yeah, this is going great. I'm just gonna kick back, enjoy this ride. And at the same time, you know, does that mean that I'm not doing enough? Does that mean I'm not being enough? Does that,
Yes.
So that's where I'm at.
Yes, it does, because judging you is the most effective thing you could possibly do. But this is the thing. It's like we do this to ourselves all the time. It's like, you know, as a humanoid being, as somebody who's like out there and desiring a different possibility for the world and loves to create and all this kind of stuff, the thing we do is we get ourselves into this mind fuck of, you know, sure, I can do this, but that's not really enough. Or if I do this, it doesn't match this future I'm aware of. Like, I'm aware of this massive future where I'm speaking to thousands of people, and here I did a video and only 3 people watched it, you know? So it's never enough. It's never going to be enough. I'm never going to be enough. And that's one of the biggest lies that we use to stop ourselves. And it's just not true. Like, what's so cool about what I love, my favorite thing about Access classes, my favorite thing about what's actually true, the real reality that we get to discover in every single fucking class, is that you are never more fucked up than you think you are. You are always greater. Always. There is always more right about you than you know or than you're willing to acknowledge. And that practice of, showing up and interesting point of view, I have this point of view about any point of view I have about myself, about how I look, about how I sound, about what I'm choosing right now. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. And the practice of just choosing again and choosing again and choosing again that's what creates a life, right? And getting out of the mind fuck of judging what you're choosing into the joy of enjoying what you're choosing. Even if what you're choosing is ridiculous, even if what you're choosing is insane, enjoying that. Enjoy being insane. That's me. I do.
Okay,
Awesome.
Johnny, with this answer, or is there anything else you would like to ask?
Do you have anything in response to that?
Are you talking to me?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, the interesting thing is I don't have a lot of these, what I'd call before, like issues or problems. I don't really have any of that. And if there are, I'm really quick to come to the awareness of, yeah, that's nothing to be concerned about. What I did want to acknowledge with what Crystal has contributed to me, and maybe that might even turn into a question. People used to tell me like, oh, John, I'm doing a lot of creative work. So people go, well, that's amazing. Like you're doing a great job. And I was in this kind of place of, like controlling my ego and saying, oh, yeah, that was all right. Like I can do it better, or yeah, that was pretty good. And, yeah. And I just make myself smaller, thinking that acknowledging, saying, hey, yeah, I'm as awesome as you said I was, would be being egotistical. And what has really changed for me is that now when people go, we love that, we love what you did, and I know, really, I know what I did, and it's not to say I'm the most fantastic photographer in the world or I make the best videos. That's all relative. That's all in the way of perceiving and perhaps judgment and conclusion. Now, when I hear it, I just go, yes, thank you. And that has really changed my reality, and it keeps changing my reality, and it's becoming greater. And I'm really looking forward to being in this class to see what other possibilities there are. I'm realizing that there's no like checkbox I have to keep ticking. All I know is I just want to keep getting bigger, better, more myself, and having more fun. And I'm looking forward to seeing how much more fun I can have. So thank you.
You're
So
welcome.
cool. Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
Also, so actually, like for people, do you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So one of the things is like if people don't know about access, right? Like there are no requirements to this class, so anyone can show up. And so one of the things is like, how does it work? Because if you're not familiar with access and you actually don't know what's possible, because for a lot of times what I find is people can't relate to things you're saying in a way because you're like thinking in possibilities, but most people are not used and trained to think in possibilities, and a lot of people actually are in Amsterdam, by the way, but but it's kind of cool. So how does like if why would they come to class, right? Like if that's any, like if you're not access related kind of thingy.
No, it's a really great question. The whys are probably going to be right across the board. I think the first thing I would say is like, if there's ever anything that you're looking at where you just cannot get it out of your system, then you need to follow that, because your why is not able to be articulated. Your why is somewhere deep in the inside of you where you're like, I don't know what it is about this class, but I have to go. Or I don't know what it is about this thing, but I have to go. And that's the first thing I want to tell you is sometimes your why can't be articulated, but it's just something in your, it's like a little burr under your saddle and you just can't get it out. Listen to that, because those things are the breadcrumbs you've left yourself somewhere in time that you now get to follow, that are going to lead you to more of you. And I would say never choose anything unless it's going to lead you to more of you. And you always know those things because there's a sense of space and a sense of lightness to them that you can't explain to anybody else, and nobody else needs to understand but you. So that would be the first thing I would say is like, I can give you all kinds of reasons you'd want to come to this class. You can show up more as you can make more money, you can have a bigger business, you can enjoy your body more, you can actually just enjoy being alive on the planet more. That's probably the biggest thing for me. Like, I know for me, like I'm 42 this year. I'm 3.5 years into Access Consciousness as a certified facilitator, creating my life into this worldwide traveling phenomenon. But I spent most of my time on this planet like not wanting to be here because it wasn't fun for me. I did not enjoy it. I had so much trauma and drama growing up, and 2 marriages and lots of just emotional turmoil that I didn't know how to fix. And so these tools that have gotten me to this place, these Access tools, which is this massive set of toolbox that it's like some Father Christmas shows up in your house and lands you this giant sized toolbox in your living room, and you're like, oh, how do you? And so what we do with these classes is we give this massive toolbox a container, and we're like, okay, let's play with these tools around the topic of showing up, right? Let's play with this giant massive toolbox around what's going on for you in your life. Where are you not showing up in your life? Where are you being less than you? In your relationships, when you are in your marriage, are you being all of you, or do you know there's like 100,000% of you that's missing? When you're at work, how much of you are you actually being? Or is there like 90,000 molecules of you that are in some other universe while your body's at work? You know what I mean? Like, what would it take to actually show up in your life in a way that you liked being there all the time? Not just when you were at the bar with your friends, but like you just woke up and you were excited to be in your skin. And what would that be like? And you woke up and, you looked outside and everything you saw just lit you up. Like, what would that kind of life be like? And what does it take to get there? And what I love about Access Consciousness is that we're like, here, try it this way, and then go this direction, and then try it that way, and then play with it this way, until you find the way that works for you to show up. And that's my favorite thing about this. And my favorite thing about the classes and the facilitation is that my job as a facilitator is to empower you to know what you already know. You already know it, but it might have gotten covered up with some stuff that you bought into, that you thought was real, that you thought you were more fucked up than you really are. And so you already know it. And how fucking amazing is that you're walking through this life thinking that you don't know, but that you actually know, and now you get to know it and be it and choose it and create whatever you want with it. You got this massive palette now of like finger paints that you can just like paint on the wall. You can body paint your nipples. Like, you can do whatever you want. And
I like that. Yeah, let's do that.
Body painting nipples.
Me too.
Speaking of nipples, it was kind of funny that you mentioned the nipples. A friend of mine, she actually I was having a conversation with her, and we talked about, like having sex with a guy the day before, and me and a friend of mine, we were like, asked her like, how was it? And she was like, yeah, it was okay. And then a friend of mine, she's like, does okay work for you?
Yeah. That's a great
Right?
question.
So
Yeah.
and so one of the things that for me that changed is, okay, that doesn't work for me. That's not enough. For me, everything has to be great and fabulous, and like, so and that's like what I'm looking into, like, or desiring to look into with you during the class is like, what if I was, like truly being phenomenal and being brilliant and magical just by being me?
I know, and it's so funny because that's such an undervalued set of desires. It's like, really, I mean, like we're taught to value like hard work and work ethic and it's hard stuff. We're taught to value everything hard except penises. I mean, like really, like when you look at it.
Nipples and penises, yes.
That's what the class is all about.
Come to the class, yes.
Education in the shape of no, I don't know. It's just like we're taught to value hard stuff, like it's suffering is valuable and all that. And when you're actually enjoying your life, there's so much judgment around that. And the reality is like there's just actually no other point to being on the planet unless you're enjoying it and having fun. I don't, and there's nothing, and what you have to start to look for with all of this is like what's light, because what's light for you is true for you, what's heavy is a lie. So if it's really, really light that life is supposed to be hard, if that seems really light to you, then go for that. If that seems really heavy, then there's a possibility for a different reality that you haven't yet considered. And that's what I love. I love that about Access, because it's constantly like inviting us to this other space of like, well, what else is possible? What's beyond that you haven't considered? What's beyond working hard all of your life and then dying? I remember looking in the mirror one time and I was working hard and dying, and I looked at myself and I'm like, is this all there is? Is this it? And of course it isn't. But it was that itch of like, there's just got to be more than this. And the level of enjoyment that's possible to be had with like everything you eat and taste and have sex with and do in the world is beyond anything you've considered. And I think that's when life actually gets worth living.
And Crystal, you've been writing There Will Be the Piano, or your piano in the class.
Yeah. So
what do you love about bringing your piano?
Oh, it's just because it's so cool. Well, I grew up playing the piano, but class is not about me playing the piano. What I really am aware of with any instrument or any microphone or any stage is that as soon as you include it as a facilitation tool or as a possibility for somebody to play or not play or play badly, what starts to come up is all the limiting points of view about why they can't, why they shouldn't, why they would never. And when you start to get over some of that stuff around, let's just say sitting down and playing anything on the piano, you would be shocked at how many people will sit in front of a piano and not even put their hands on the keys because they can't play.
All right.
How much do we do that in our life?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even going to show up on video because I have nothing to say. I'm not even going to say anything in this relationship because I don't know what I want to say, so I'm not going to say anything. So I'm just going to bear with it and deal with it and leave this person eventually because I'm so fucking miserable. Right? I'm not going to choose anything because I don't know what to choose. And the thing about an instrument or standing in front of a microphone is that there's no right or wrong way to do it. There's just choosing to do it. And what comes out, like when you sit down and play at a piano and you play any one note, something happens. There's a sound. And then you get to play another note, and then there's another sound. And then you get to play another note and maybe a lot at the same time, and you get another sound. And what you get from doing that is awareness of like, well, I don't know if I liked that combination of sound. Okay, so what does this sound do? And then if I put this sound with that sound, what does that sound do? And what gets introduced is this play of discovering what you're capable of, what your choices create. And so it becomes this little microcosmic universe of what's actually possible in your life. And we get to clear like whatever comes up around that. And so it's not that everybody's going to be asked to play the piano also. It's that it's there as a tool if we want to use it. And so there's going to be people that come to class that already play piano or play an instrument and sit down and like play like Liberace. And then there's going to be other people that are like, don't make me play that thing, which just probably means you might be asked to play that thing. And it's just going to be like, what gift can it be to us to like start to unlock everywhere where we've just stopped ourselves from being?
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Where we are not allowing ourselves to be noisy.
Exactly.
where are we hiding anything, if it's the voice or just speaking up for ourselves or just saying what we want or whatever, or showing us and our businesses, for example, and just say, hey, here I am and I offer you this for this price. And even this can be very stressful. It was very stressful for me. And now it's like, does anybody want it? Something? Fun? And it's quite different. And the less I try to be professional, I try to be serious, the more money I make. It's really when I try to be a serious editor, I was nearly broke all the time. And since I'm just crazy and it's just working much better. And Crystal, you are somebody, for me, I watch you on Facebook a lot, and I so often have these I'll have that moments, like, oh, I'll have that, oh, I'll have that, oh, like this. And you don't inspire me to duplicate or to do the same thing, but to do what works for me and to show up as I am, because I'm a different way of crazy than you are. Like, but it's always inspiring. And you really show me that you don't always make everything right? And sometimes you even say like, oh, this was shit. And I'm like, oh my God, this brave woman, she tells all the Facebook. Facebook knows she was wrong. It means that's reality, right? And it's really very inspiring to watch it and to see you expanding and people following you more and more, even though you're not perfect and you're not doing these videos like these perfect business videos like you are the winner, these artificial shit that nobody wants to see anymore. And this is so inspiring also for me in business and in life, just to show up. Damn it.
That's it.
And I think this class will unlock very much for many people who are hiding themselves, their business, their capacities. And I'm so looking forward to it. Like, oh my God, how much can we unlock? My English is not perfect.
You're fired. Off the video.
And it's no problem anymore. I would have died 3 years ago or something. And what will happen if you go to this class? How will your life be if you go to this class? I really wonder. So
Cool. Thank you.
let's see.
Yeah. Well, and one more thing, and then I know we'll probably wrap this up because we could just talk forever. But what was I gonna say? See, I don't remember. Well, oh, I know what I was gonna say. So those business videos that you see on Facebook, like I get so many through my Facebook feed. I think because I'm a coach and Facebook is algorithmic, and so they figured me out and they're like, here, watch this guy, and I've taken a lot of like classes on like, if you want this kind of result, then you got to do it this formula and you got to include these things. And I've tried that, and every time I do that, I feel like I've got a carrot stuck up my ass and I'm totally constipated, and and the videos come out and they're shit. And then when I'm just myself, it's exactly what you said, Saskia. It's like when I'm just myself, like it just goes. And then when I started including my piano, which was an element of my life that I totally left out, I just left it out again with the, and I was like, what? Because it's not like I'm not a professional pianist. I'm not anything that you would have thought that you need to be to show up as that, right? Like I don't have a level of, and I mean, I have some skill. I've got some more skill than some people. I have less than others, but I'm just me. And so being willing to just show up as me, like it's exactly what you said. Like that's actually what creates everything. And I think the biggest challenge is just getting to what's me. And the weird thing is that you don't have a definition. You don't have a form or a structure or a significance. Mm-hmm. So that gets to change all the time too. And you get to be that change all the time too. And that's also a gift. So it's that nothing's excluded. Your changes aren't excluded. Your quirks aren't excluded. Your weirdness, your conclusions aren't excluded. The times that you don't use the tools aren't excluded. It's like if you were willing to include your whole range and spectrum of who you are and what you bring to the world, what would that create? Mm-hmm. I wonder.
What a beauty. We have all of you beautiful watchers, video watchers out there. And those words just nurture you and invite you into this class. Crystal and all of us here in the video will be in the Netherlands, exactly in Amsterdam, from the 26th till the 28th of July. So end of July, it will be a 2.5-day class. It will be awesome. And if you like some more fun, some more guessing and swearing and fuck it and whatever there is, you all are so invited, and we're so looking forward you're gonna come and join in.
Yeah, cool. And whatever you choose, I adore you, and I'm so grateful that you're in the world. And we will see you later.
See you there.
Thank you.